to episode 16 of the Power of Now podcast. This episode is brought to you by No, which is a meme coin on the Solana blockchain. I'm going to put the links to the deck screener and to the website and the Twitter account all in the description. Go check it out. It's a great way to take advantage of a revolutionary thing that's going on right now with meme coins. If you haven't heard about meme coins, just think of it like the earliest inception of Bitcoin or Ethereum. Imagine getting into Bitcoin when you could buy, Bitcoin for less than $1. That's kind of where we're at with meme coins right now. The market caps on these things are low, so you can buy a large volume for a relatively small amount of money. People are turning a couple of $1,000s into a few $1 million, literally, in just a very short amount of time. So look into it, do your own research, know what you're buying. There's a lot of coins out there, probably 90% of them are shit, but if you find the right coin and you buy it and you hold it, it could change your life. And I mentioned No as a meme coin as an example because I've been buying it consistently for weeks. I'm holding on to all of my coins, and I think it's a great project with a great message. So without further ado, I want to introduce my guest. He's got a business making upcycled materials, the real upcycle, and I want to welcome Brett.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for coming back, man. We did this about a year ago.
Yeah.
And we had a great conversation. I felt like there was a lot of stuff we didn't touch on. And also, when we spoke last time, the episode that you were on, people have said it was like one of their favorite episodes. People have contacted me about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay.
It had a great response. So
nice.
When I made a short list of people I wanted to get back on, actually you and Casper both were people that were like requested to have back.
Nice. Yeah, Casper's cool.
Yeah, a lot of people specifically reached out about those two episodes. So how you been, man? What have you been up to?
A bunch of things. Well, it's been actually a really good year. It's been a very fun year. After that point, I saw a lot of growth on my Instagram. Got up to 10,000 followers. It felt very rewarding. It was really nice. I enjoyed interacting with people and finding the support from complete strangers. And that was such a new experience. I got more more support from complete strangers than I did from people from my past, or it was awesome. And then Instagram. So I was boosting. I had this bucket hat. I would buy bucket hats from a website, from a wholesaler. Then I would take straps and I would cut off the tags that said Gucci on it, and I would sew those onto the bucket hat. That picture I boosted like all year, and then all of a sudden it became an issue, and then Instagram took my account down, so I lost it. I was devastated. So that happened.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like, I know what you mean with getting support from people that you don't even know, and it's I've been posting content on my social media page just about like healthy living, healthy eating. I think I'm almost 60 days into it now, and I dropped like 26 pounds so far.
It's incredible.
But
you should be proud.
I gained all that weight back because, bro, like, I'm probably the same weight now, or maybe even a little bit higher than when we did the last podcast.
Okay.
Because I put on like 36 pounds in like a year just from...
You look slimmer.
Yeah,
you lost weight.
Well, that's the thing. So I gained all this weight and then I lost it all again. But I've been posting my progress, and a lot of the comments and like DMs that I've gotten are mostly from people that I don't even know, like people from all over the country. Like, somebody hit me up and was like, I sent your reels to my brother because he's overweight. And I was like, if this guy can do it, you can do it too.
Nice. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and just like getting messages from people that are like, and comments like, yo, you're inspiring me to do this. Like, that's the whole reason why I post it. Part of it's the accountability for myself.
Sure.
But the other part of it too is like, I love to see people. It's kind of like in recovery when they say you can only keep what you have by giving it away.
True.
And like, there's something about helping other people that makes it easier for me to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I felt the same way with like, the like posting like wins on social media.
Yeah.
Like,
it's inspiring.
Yeah.
To be a person that inspires others is, there's nothing else like it.
Right. And the real thing is, like the first time I went through this process and lost a bunch of weight and started eating healthier was because I saw people on social media doing it and it inspired me. So I was like, you know what? If it can inspire me, I'd like to inspire others. And, you know, by doing that, it's like kind of paying it forward, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, I definitely know that feeling. And so, like, you said you were devastated when you lost the account. Like, what was your first reaction?
Devastated. It was complete. Oh, I was
Well, it's a
crippled.
lot of work to get to 10,000 followers, like organically, just posting shit. You know?
Just posting, and then well, I was from boosting the post. I was almost doing the bare minimum with I would make content, then I would boost it, and I would be able to force it in front of people, and I would get feedback.
Right.
And either people would buy it, or I'd get followers, or they'd buy it later in the future, and it made it like there was a convenience to it.
Yeah. How was the return, like, versus like what you spent on ads to what you made from purchases? Like, did you feel like it was like, yeah, it's definitely worth it to boost? I'm making way more than I'm spending on the boost.
Oh yeah. For every $100, I would make like $300 or $400.
Okay.
And I would get like 50 to 100 or more followers.
Yeah, which is great because like if you could do that on like a long term, like those followers can become repeat buyers, or even if they don't buy right away, they could buy down the line. So.
I had there's this one guy that he would always buy like whatever I made, he would always buy it. He would buy one, maybe two. I'd make something new, post it, you'd buy it. And you know, you get those really loyal people that just loved what I was doing, and they were you know, repeat customers. So it was always worth it to eventually get one of those repeat customers.
Yeah. So how do you how did you rebound back from that? Like how did you pivot?
Yeah, so I had to do a hard pivot. So it was just at the end of it was like middle of summer that I lost the account. I also paid a hacker $600. Complete bozo. I don't even know if they're you know, they're real, those hackers.
What were they supposed to be doing?
Get my account back. He's like I'm a hacker. You know, just okay. He's like I hacked in and I can see your account and I see what's going on. I'll work on it. It'll take a month. This is complete bullshit. It was a waste of $600. I had to cash app him $600.
Damn.
He's a bozo. Yeah, so
he's a bozo with $600 in his cash app.
I think it was a whole organized network of people that will say, "Oh yeah, you know, it's this whatever." So I had to do a hard pivot, and I had to go to. I started doing fairs, so I had to start doing sales in person. So I would set up at art fairs, markets, pop-ups, anything. So I started doing that. Then I got a franchise of permanent jewelry from a friend.
Okay.
That started the first permanent jewelry on Long Island. Nice. So started doing that. And so I had the permanent jewelry and the upcycling. So I was just doing that at fairs. And it was a really great time. I'm still doing it.
So is the income, is it comparable to what you were doing with your Instagram page?
Yes. Yes and yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it ends up being like if I put 2 days of working on product and I do a day of a craft fair and it's a big fair, I might be able to sell all my product and I just made a you know, good return on
right.
everything.
And then you don't have to ship it or anything like that. You don't have to deal with processing.
No headache. Yeah.
Yeah.
No shipping.
Gotcha. So and in the winter, I'm sure they still have you know some stuff you can do. It's not like, you know, like I know in the summer they have these things like every weekend, but they have more indoor stuff that you could do, like flea markets and things like that, I'm imagining.
Yeah, there's like I'm doing Old Westbury Gardens. They have a holiday market.
Nice.
So you have the Old Westbury Estate, and then in the main house they set up a person like in each room.
Okay.
So I'm going to be in this like really cool old estate.
And when's that going to be?
Shit. The last week of November, and then it's going to be every weekend in December.
Nice. All right. Yeah. So it's like a recurring thing throughout the season.
Yeah, it's going to be three weekends. The first 2 weekends of December, last weekend of November.
Nice.
Something like that.
And what else you got going on other than the fairs that you're doing?
The fairs, doing installs of high-end draperies.
Okay. How's that?
I have a family friend who he custom makes draperies for a couple really big interior designers, and yeah, I've been flying out of state doing installs in Connecticut. Just got back from Nantucket.
Nice.
Which is really interesting. Nantucket is incredible. It's like made up money over there. It doesn't make any sense.
I've never been there.
It's insane, and the amount of effort those people have put into preserving that island is just it's like unlike anything else.
How do you mean?
You can't paint any building, so
Okay.
unless you're grandfathered in, everything has to be cedar paneling.
Wow.
So every building looks the same. All the details are the same. All the roads. So the downtown, all the roads are cobblestone. The sidewalks are brick.
Nice.
There's no modern building material.
That's correct. You know, it kind of
It's really
sounds
cool.
like you ever see that show, The Watcher?
No.
Dude. So there's this show on I think it's on Netflix. This family moves into this house and it's like a beautiful kind of like you're describing, like it's like an old community where like everything's kind of just like preserved from the past, and they start remodeling things right away, and like the whole neighborhood's like pissed off, and like they start getting these letters that are like threatening. They're like these ominous letters, like, you know, like I admire your home, like I've been an admirer of your home for however long, and
It's
like
creeping. Okay.
it's like a creepy thing,
Yeah.
and they're trying to figure out what's going on because it's almost like stalkerish, and there's like they're trying to figure out who's sending these letters, and at the same time there's all these people from the community that are giving them a hard time about, you know, the interior remodeling that they're doing, and they're putting security cameras on the house, and like they're getting a hard time about everything. So you start wondering like which one of these people that's pestering us is the one sending these letters, and you know,
inside job. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a thriller, you know. It's good. I liked it.
The Watcher. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, there might be a second season. I might be imagining things. I'm not sure, but I know that when I watched it, I liked it a lot. But it reminded me of like what you said, how like they can't paint anything. You know?
It's like a time capsule type environment.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Nantucket, and that's big money, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like everything's. You know, you could buy a shack for like $1 million.
Gotcha.
$2 million for a shack.
You know something.
Like you get a double shack for $3 million. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Well, you look at real estate in some place in the country, and it's out of control. Like I was in Jackson, Wyoming, a couple of years ago, and it's like a breathtaking place. You know, you go and there's like beautiful mountains and lakes, and you're within a drive to like two different national parks, Yellowstone and Teton National Park.
Oh, nice.
And so, you know, you get there and you're just looking around, and I was like, dude, I could live here. So, you know, sometimes you're walking through these downtown areas, you see like a real estate office, and they have like, just in the window, they have like images
pictures
of like stuff for sale. Everything's in the millions, like multi-millions of dollars. And I'm like, this is crazy. You know, let me look into this. So I go into Zillow. And I do this different places whenever I'm traveling, because I become curious, like what it would cost to live there. And it's like you said, like you can't even get like a shack, like a 1-bedroom shack for $1 million. Like the closest place you can get to Jackson that I was able to find was like Rock Spring, Idaho, or something like that, which is like a 45-minute drive.
Wow.
But I was just like, and so I was talking to locals about it, and they said that the big thing that happened first was like Harrison Ford moved there, and he started telling people about it.
Yeah, once
and,
Harrison moves in,
yeah,
there goes the neighborhood.
So Harrison Ford moved in, and the prices went up, and all the millionaires came in.
Sure.
And now what they're saying is that the billionaires are pricing out the millionaires.
Oh.
So billionaires are starting to buy a property there, and literally like the only people that live there that aren't insanely wealthy are people that basically were born and raised there, and they inherited, you know, whatever ranch they have from their family or whatever.
Yep.
And at that point, they're pretty much wealthy anyway, because they could always sell that property and, you know, get serious money from it.
Yeah, they're locked in.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. Where else you been going? You said you've been going out of state.
Oh, went to Maine. What's it called? Something. Bay, Port Bay.
The only place I remember in Maine is like Bar Harbor.
Not Bar Harbor. It's I don't know, somewhere in Maine. But that's also actually one of those places where a billionaire is coming in and he's buying up a lot of property. He's actually apparently like showing up that he's he's like 4 different companies buying up property, and but it's
Gotcha.
all the same person, and that's gonna be like the next like Nantucket area.
Gotcha.
Went there, went to Connecticut a bunch of times. That we could just drive, so it's easy.
Yeah.
Went to I went to Ohio. That was cool. Had a good time there. Yeah, Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, just been going all over.
Nice. And like, so I know you said like with the draperies, that's through a family friend. I was gonna ask you, like, how did you first get into? And we might have touched on this on the last podcast. I'm kind of vaguely remembering it now, but like, how did you first get into like the whole upcycling thing?
Oh, I walked into a store, and so I can paint, draw, sew. I can pretty much make anything. I have autism for creativity, basically.
Right.
And I walked into a store, and I'm like, hey, I could make anything. This is some stuff that I've already made. Like, what should I do? And he's like, you should buy a Louis Vuitton bag, chop it up, make some keychains, and sell them. I'm like, I'm not prepared to like lay out for a Louis Vuitton bag to then cut it up in hopes that I make some money off of it. So he gave me a bag and said, chop it up. And then it worked. And then that was like the first batch of things that I made. And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I saw how when I posted pictures of it, people were like, immediately, yo, dope, I want one. And I sold like a bunch immediately. Then like next week, I sold a bunch to other people that I knew.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that I ever had something creatively that like people just immediately wanted. So I saw the associations between the brand name, the quality of how I make it, and people wanting it. And I was like, this is awesome. It's a no-brainer.
Gotcha.
Just keep at it.
And now, is that more just like the business side of you, or is like the creative aspect there too, where it's like an outlet for you, like your creativity?
It's half and half. So there's a cathartic quality to just making something with your hands, like cutting things and focusing. So it's good to focus heavily on a project for a period of time, for like an extended period of time. It's good for your brain. So I find that like I need to experience that frequently for myself and my sanity and everything. It's not my ideal creative path at all, but the aim of the game for myself is to afford more time so then I can then do more creative stuff that like is, really just comes down to painting, because I don't want to just quit everything and just start painting.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. Like, in your perfect world, if you had enough money to not need any money and you were just like, fuck it, like I just want to spend a year just doing what I want to do, like what would that one thing be?
Oh, it'd be painting.
Yeah.
It would be painting, and probably learning how to build shapes and things out of like fiberglass, and like make like structural. I would want to make like large pieces,
like sculptures,
like sculpture installation type pieces,
right?
And that's what I would want to do.
And you've never tried that before?
No. There's this type of epoxy called West Systems epoxy that it's very versatile, and it's a polyester resin, and you can do a lot with it. So it's a body for all these additives that you could then add to it, and you could do like really incredible things with it.
Gotcha.
So that's something, but it's like, it's like very time consuming.
Right. And with painting, what do you paint? Landscapes, portraits, like what do you do?
I like painting abstractly, because abstractly you're limited with the foundations of like visual elements.
Okay.
So you have like line, color, weight, all those like characteristics, composition, all those things that people take for granted. When people look at things, usually there's some type of design element to it that makes it appealing or not appealing.
Right.
And those things are really often overlooked. But if you use them in really creative ways, you create really striking and stunning images. Yeah. And people forget that there is a science to it. Not everything is just subjective. Yeah. Like my taste in this versus your taste in that. This is a good example of something done well. This is a bad example of nothing going well. Right. like that stuff is real.
Dude, when I was younger, and like I would look at like certain types of like abstract art, like modern art. I would just be like, this guy's just fucking like throwing shit at the canvas. Like, I just didn't get it. And then,
So, do you want to know about that?
yeah, tell me about that.
So Jackson Pollock. So there's a artistic timeline and context that you have to understand. There's a lens that you have to view everything through. So there's a significance across the timeline. And that is the significant, like that is the reason the person is who they are. That's why their pieces go for so much money. So like Jackson Pollock, during that time period, the art and the artist became as important as each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the time period of that time.
Right.
And there's a significance to it. So you have to view it through that lens to see the value in it. If you don't, then it's just like, this guy is literally just throwing fucking paint on a
well, you know, so what's
sucks.
interesting is like I think I was just closed-minded when I was younger. Closed-minded to certain things, I should say. And you know, like I've gone to museums and things like that since then, and I've been able to like just sit there and be like, you know, let me take this in and like see what it's all about. And like, yeah, there's still stuff that I see that I'm like, yeah, this is bullshit. Like I don't get anything from it. But then there's others that I look at and I'm like, you know what? Like it doesn't look like anything that I could say what it is, but like I could feel something by looking at like the colors and the shapes, and I could get something from it. Mm-hmm. So it is interesting to look at different types of art like that. Like I'm much more intrigued by it now than maybe I was when I was like, you know, a 15-year-old kid or whatever, like a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, I went to, I was in Amsterdam last year. Cool. And we went to the Van Gogh Museum. It was kind of cool seeing, so the way they had that museum set up, they kind of, you walk through his life, kind of. So they have like starting with like some of his earliest work, and then you walk your way through to like some of his later stuff, like before he died. And then like throughout the entire museum, there's different, like they give you context to everything, like where he was at in his life when he did this, why he did it. And it's all based on like letters and diaries. And they have a lot of his like letters to like his siblings and stuff like that. And there was really, really cool museum because it was just all dedicated to one guy. And you felt like you were being told the story of his life as you walk through it, which was probably one of the coolest museum experiences that I could say I've had. You know?
Yeah. So that also brings up another point that like to be an artist that you can do that with, you need to have a huge body of work.
Yep.
You need to have all those diaries.
And he died young, and he didn't paint for very long before he died either.
No, but the amount of paintings that he made was like prolific. Yeah. It was like intense.
That's what was so interesting. It was all during like a few year period. But he had so much just in that one museum. And I'm sure there's a shitload of other stuff that wasn't even in there, you know,
but tons of stuff.
Yeah. And it was interesting getting the context of like why he was feeling the way he was when he painted everything that he painted, which is, you know, like I said, it was a good experience having that context because like you said with the Pollock stuff, like looking at it through that lens, you know,
matters.
It matters. Yeah, it does. Yeah. And it's, you know, I'm a history guy too. So like having that element added to it, like I'm like, all right, so I'm in Amsterdam. Like I'm kind of like, you know, where he was, and I'm able to see the progression of his life and his work at the same time, which was really interesting.
It is. Yeah. There's there's another artist, I think Monet and then Monet.
Monet and Monet are two different people?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Get the fuck out of here.
That paints the lily pads and shit.
Right.
So that guy's deal was like he would paint one scene 5 times on the same canvas multiple times, like throughout the day. So with different sunlight and like atmospheric, like you know, distortion on the colors and everything. Like he would paint on the same exact canvas 5 times. So you have like, that was his process, you know? And there's some
he did the same thing every time. He didn't switch it up at all.
No, he would just, well, it would be a different study of something. Yeah. But his thing was like different lighting, you know, multiple times throughout the day.
Gotcha.
The same exact thing.
Now I gotta look at some of his art.
That's why all the colors are so weird. Like he's like using reds, and then he starts putting blues on top of reds. And
where was this guy from? France?
Probably somewhere in Europe. Yeah.
So much shit from Europe, man.
Yeah, they like their art.
Yeah.
They like doodling.
Who do you think is like the biggest like American painter?
Biggest American
Is
painter.
there anybody who like measures up to those European dudes that were fucking everything up?
No, I don't know. Usually, honestly, it's
I only asked because like when I was talking about the Van Gogh Museum, I was thinking about like traveling is part of like what opens up my interest too. Like I didn't give a fuck about Hans Christian Andersen up until I was in Copenhagen, and they have all this shit dedicated to him, and then I'm like, this guy's fucking interesting. Like now I want to read about him, you know, like
Sure.
So that's why I asked that, because I'm like wondering like who's from the States that made that kind of an impact on the art world, you know?
In the art world. I don't know if there's anybody that's just like, it's clear like this is the guy, but like there's a lot of people that do a lot of things really, really well. And that's really like how the art world is. It's like there's a lot of people that do their thing really, really well.
Right.
And some of it's like for the like entertainment purposes. Others, it's like just pure satire. And yeah, so like depending on it, that's the subjective nature of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the weird thing about art is it's usually, correct me if I'm wrong, but nobody's really appreciated until they're gone. At least not the way that we look at people like Van Gogh or, you know, like those types of people. Like, is there anybody who's painting right now?
Become an institution like that? Yeah. It's getting rarer and rarer. No, there are a lot of living artists though that are like Ross Bleckner is like a really big one. Eric Fischel, all the people that there's a woman, Mary Boone, all the artists that like she would showcase, those are like top premier artists.
Okay.
And then there's
so if you were a
still emerging
gambling
artists.
man or an art investor, you'd buy some of these people's works now and hold on to it for the next 20, 30 years. And
Well, those pieces are already like millions of dollars
already.
currently, yeah.
So you're fucked. But that means they'll
you
be
can't get
worth
into
$100 million if
yeah,
you
they
wait.
would be. Yeah.
So it's still cheap at $1 million, if you ask me.
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal when you look at it
Still a
like
good
that.
deal. Yeah.
Bro, the craziest thing about art that people don't realize is that, so like I deal with this with rare coins because I sell bullion and rare coins. And a lot of people will be like, you know, I don't care about the rare coins. I just want bullion because if shit hits the fan and we're in a recession, nobody's going to care about how rare it is. And it's actually the opposite. So what people don't realize is that when times are bad economically, luxury assets are actually the ones that become the most valuable.
Sure.
Because the people that can afford to buy those things anyway, they're so rich that they're not going to be affected by a recession the same way that like the working class are.
Yeah.
So first of all, they have so much fucking money that they know before shit hits the fan. So if you look at like guys like Jeff Bezos right now, Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, the Walton family, the people that have the most money, they're already selling all their stocks.
Yeah.
They're already getting their money out of the stock market, preparing for a recession.
Sure.
Why? Because it's coming. And every time a recession comes, they pull their money out early. So they don't even get hurt anyway.
Yep.
And what ends up happening is they still do what they like to do. In fact, they do it more. So like during COVID, when the stock market crashed, rare coins went up in value more, like 10 times what they normally do. Every time there was a rare coin auction, there would be record prices on, and there would be record sales, because people, they have more time on their hands to focus on their hobbies. They're bored.
Sure.
And they have all this liquidity that they just took out of the stock market because they're not trying to get beat in the stock market. They'll put their money back in the stock market when everything's at an all-time low.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're focusing on their hobbies. So like their fine art, their wine collection, they're buying all that shit, and it's driving the prices up. So it's really interesting. I use that analogy all the time. And it's kind of like, if you look at what industries actually don't get hurt as much during a recession, people are sometimes surprised to hear this, but go back to 2007, 2008, the global financial crisis. Restaurants did well, and the entertainment industry people go to the movies and they go out to eat.
Yeah.
It's escapism.
Yeah.
So go back to the Great Depression. That's when all the classic like golden age films from Hollywood came out. Universal Studios put out like Frankenstein and all these classic movies because that's what that's what was in high demand. People wanted to escape from their problems, so they'd go out to the movies. You know?
Yeah. So
I don't know how I got on that tangent.
No, but it's a good point though. You know, it's better to spend money on experiences.
Right.
It's like even when COVID was going on, people were like so happy to have their goddamn boat. They were just jumping on their boat and doing boat stuff. And
right.
Doing boat stuff all day, you know?
Yeah. Boats and hoes.
Boats and hoes. Yeah. But you need that though. That's the quality of living is like the quality to living is having the experiences. You want to be able to have experiences.
Absolutely.
Hobbies and things that bring you joy.
Are you a museum guy? Do you go to museums and take in art? No?
No.
For a guy that likes art so much, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah. Well, because...
what about art galleries? You ever walk into an art gallery?
I don't. I would. I just haven't. I was actually thinking of... I'm going to be in West Palm Beach second week of December, so there's going to be Art Basel, so I was thinking about going down to Miami to go to that.
That's
just
dope.
To check it out.
I've never been. I've thought about going.
Yeah. I worked, I had to go install a couple galleries. I was working for an art handling company in the past, a couple of years ago, and I had to go down and set up some galleries. So I was there for like a week before Art Basel, then I flew back up, and then I had to go back. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I would want to actually
see any famous people there? No,
I was there just for the setup and for breaking it down. Yeah. So I didn't actually, I should have just stayed there and like,
were you allowed to? Like, you couldn't have?
No, I had to go back because I was working. So that's the art handling.
Gotcha.
So you do a lot of setups, and then you can't really stay for the event.
That's bullshit. That should at least be a benefit if you're gonna do all this.
Yeah, it was a bummer.
Dude, you ever see that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal? Fuck, I'll never remember the name of it. But I think he's an art handler, or he works in an art gallery or something.
Oh, really?
And it's a thriller.
Oh,
it's some fucked up shit. And it's gonna drive people nuts if they're watching because I'm not gonna remember the name of it right now. But maybe I'll put it in the description so if people are curious they can go look. But it was a sick fucking movie, bro. Really? But he worked in an art gallery. I remember that part.
Oh, cool.
And I was curious about how realistic it is. I mean, very snooty people. Obviously, it was probably a caricature of like what really exists. But
yeah. The art, I miss it. It was cool being around all the people in between the gallery and the people that work in that whole industry. There's a coolness about it, which I definitely miss, just being around all those people and everything. The grunt work can get less cool, but the people doing the things in that industry are very, very cool.
Yeah. Well, people are probably driven to that kind of work if they have similarities, like things in common.
Yeah.
How did you get into that world?
I had a friend who he was like a year or 2 years older than me, and he was the bee's knees of art in my high school, and then I was the bee's knees after he left. And then
where'd you go to school? West Babylon?
Yeah, West Babylon.
Okay.
Yeah. And so after I graduated, I was working for my family's canvas shop. We do custom boat covers. My dad was just pissing me off.
Yeah.
Just acting like an asshole. And so then I get a phone call, and my friend's like, hey, do you want a job doing art handling? I'm like, yeah, I do. So I told my dad, fuck off. And so I quit and did art handling.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was good. It was awesome. It was a great introduction to the art world and everything. It was very eye-opening and very interesting. Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So in terms of art, you said before, if you could do one thing, it would be paint. What stops you from doing that now? Is it just a time thing or lack of? It's
a time thing. To do it properly, like to do it like the right way, you need to like set up an area where you're just designated to painting. Like you don't want to have to break down your paints and everything. Like you want to just leave everything up. It's like a whole section that you're painting.
Right.
And that's ideal because you want to slowly build something over a long period of time. Something that's just been in the back of my head. And I think this winter, because now I'm going to be having more time because I don't have my Instagram anymore.
Right.
I'm going to probably start trying to start pecking at it or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, I want to get back into it.
Yeah. How long has it been since you've painted something?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Got an iPad.
Yeah.
And I did a really nice drawing on it, and I was like, oh, this felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like painting and drawing and all that stuff. Like, it's just so therapeutic for me. Like, I literally lose track of time. I spent probably 4 hours drawing something, and I just completely zoned out. And I look at my watch, and I'm like, I can't believe all this time has passed. So I definitely going to be getting back into it.
Were you always good at drawing, like when you were a kid and you wanted to?
I have autism for creativity.
Yeah. Well, no, I asked because it's something that I always probably wanted to be able to do, but when I would try to draw or paint or anything, nothing that I wanted to put on the paper would come out the way I envisioned it in my mind. And so I'd get frustrated, and it became not therapeutic for me. It became annoying because I couldn't do it the way I pictured it. And I get that way with other things too, but if I can see something in my mind and I can't make it appear in front of me, it just gets me frustrated, and I just don't like it, you know? And so with video editing, that's something that I was always able to figure out how to do somehow. I could always, if I could picture it in my mind, I could figure out how to make it happen by editing a video.
Sure.
And I get ideas, I get inspired as I'm doing it. So I might have one idea when I first start, and then all of a sudden something will click in my brain, and I'm like it just comes naturally to me. So I think, and I'm the same way with writing. If I start writing something, as I'm writing, more ideas flow. And then it's like I said, it just comes naturally to me. It's I get into a flow state with it. And I never kind of had that with drawing or painting. And I've tried to do it. Not that I've tried to practice getting better at it, but I've tried to sit down and do it, and it just doesn't feel right to me.
Sure. So that brings up an interesting thing about inspiration. So inspiration follows action. So you need to build off of the initial action, and then you become inspired.
Right.
And so with drawing, even to this day, if I draw something, I have enough faith that I know it's going to look good once I finish the drawing, because you can't draw a couple lines and be like, oh, it doesn't fucking look like this finished thing, and I only spent 10 minutes drawing a couple lines. You can't be pissed off that you've only put a couple lines down on the paper and it doesn't look exactly how you want it to look. Yeah. You gotta have the faith that it's going to turn out well, which is an exercise in business and fucking things working out. Yeah. So you can't just crumple up the fucking paper. You gotta just build on it.
It's funny because
but
I see myself as much more patient than I actually am in real life. And I was having a fit on an employee at some place with my girlfriend one time, and when I left, I was freaking out about it. And I was going on and on about it. And I'm like, I'm the most patient fucking guy you'll ever meet. And she quotes it to this day, because she's like, you're not fucking patient. You just think that you are.
That's funny.
But
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I think I'm patient, but no, I'm very impatient.
Yeah, I lose it, bro. I do. And but I kind of know what you mean. It's I'll be trying to draw something and the lines just don't look as smooth as they should. And instead of finishing and then coming back with an eraser and then trying to come back and perfect it, I just go, this fucking sucks. I tear it up and just throw it away. It's
there are so many little nuances, depending on how you the rotation of your wrist. This is one rotate. This is a rotation if you lock off your arm, and using your shoulder.
Oh.
If you lock your wrist and you just move your shoulder, you get a better radius. There's so many little things that, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it now.
So it's two different curves, from one coming from the wrist.
It's a small curve and a big curve.
You get a large curve from the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something like that matters.
How come Bob Ross never taught me that shit?
Because Bob Ross has to make it look easy. So much of drawing and making things, if you don't know what to do, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
building tones, like how to hold the pencil so that you're building up shades.
Yeah.
Like anyone, and this is proven, anyone can learn how to draw. You just have to put the time into learning like how to draw.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously like some things come naturally to some people and whatnot, but like it depends on what you're paying attention to. There's also the hand-eye coordination. There's the confidence of the line. So if you use one stroke versus like trying to draw like
that's
this,
what I do.
Yeah, if you do this, you'll never have a smooth stroke.
Yeah.
You need to have a smooth stroke. And then once you have the smooth stroke, then you can build off of it. You can add another thing and then another thing.
Yeah.
And it just...
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what you said, my girlfriend tells me that all the time. She's a great artist, and she's like, anybody can draw. And I'm like, not anybody, because I can't fucking draw.
Call her, she's a liar.
But
I was in, I went to Italy when I was right when I graduated high school. I got invited by a master printmaker to study art in Florence. So I went out there and I met some old ladies, and these old ladies were taking a classical drawing class, and they were saying, they were like, 5 years ago we could not draw a stick figure.
Wow.
And they just kept at these classical drawing classes, and those drawings were insane.
Really?
They were like 15-hour drawing, like studies of nude figures.
Wow.
So a person would lay for over the course of like a week for 15 hours, and these people are just drawing it. It's like,
I could do that part.
yeah, drawing boobies and stuff.
Yeah. No, I meant I could be the model. And
yeah.
That's the easy part. I could lay there.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I gotta go to Florence.
Yeah.
And learn how to draw from these old ladies.
You might have to.
Yeah. I mean, listen, so like that's the kind of thing that I mean though, like and like you said, anybody can learn, but it's kind of like this, like and I also think learning at a young age definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at somebody like Tiger Woods, he grew up golfing. His father was a good golfer. He had some natural ability, a lot of hard work, a lot of practice.
Yeah.
You know, so it all kind of ties in. There's probably some people that no matter how hard they work and how much they try, they'll get to a certain level, they'll get good, but they won't be like somebody who did all that work and all that practice, but they also were naturally gifted at it, you know?
Yes. So don't let the fear of like, or the thought that like, I'm just not naturally good at it and I'll never achieve this to this point. I was listening to something recently, and it was saying that the factor that matters the most are you giving yourself feedback from what you're doing. If you're constantly giving yourself feedback as you're doing something over the course of time, you will be really good at it. If you're just doing it over the course of time and not giving yourself honest feedback, you're not really progressing that much. So you need that that element of like, all right, so what about this is still wrong? I've been trying to do it for a while. Why is it still wrong? You got to sit and think about it. Right. And then you can fucking do anything.
Yeah. That's how I feel with writing. I've been writing, working on a novel, first novel ever. And just writing every day. And then like when I got finished with the story, I went back. And now I'm going through each chapter and like adding to it and subtracting from it and fixing like things and adding things, because when I first wrote the story, I wasn't as focused on using descriptive language and you know, character development. I just wanted to get the plot just like down.
Sure.
So now that I'm going back, I'm like, all right, like, why is he reacting this way? Like, I have to give his backstory. And so, you know, by doing that and like by reading it, I'm like, you know, this guy is not fucking likable because like he's got no emotion to like what he's doing. And there's no reasoning to why he feels the way he feels. So now I've gone back and I'm like adding all this stuff, and now I'm going back reading and I'm like, all right, now this makes sense. Like now you empathize for this guy because
you need that character development,
because he's been made human, you know, because now you understand like what he was thinking in that moment, what he was feeling in that moment, and why he felt that way. And, you know, it's just,
you could develop empathy that way.
Yeah.
You need to see those experiences of human nature to then develop empathy for a character, to then see them go through something and actually feel invested in the outcome.
Absolutely. But yeah, I like thinking about that. like just improving at things. And, you know, like what you said about, like you were talking about like the cathartic nature of working on a project for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting about that is I think about, like when I scroll on TikTok sometimes and I see people making things,
Mm-hmm.
I can't look away. Like I have to watch it. Like
Yes,
I get
again.
the cathartic feeling just from watching somebody make something, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's this one guy, it's super satisfying to watch him make belts because like watching him cut the leather and then like poke the holes,
Yep.
like punch the holes through. Something about watching leather like get pierced and cut.
Yeah.
It's like it's just satisfying to do. And then and also watching it go from just like a piece of leather, like just scrap leather to like turning into a finished product. Mm-hmm. It's just cool to watch.
It is.
You know?
It's equally fun to do. It's there's a definitely it's enjoyable to do it. But watching that, like it is there's a visceral sensation of watching somebody just use like tools and material, and they're you know just.
You ever watch bushcraft videos?
Nah.
So it'll be like a dude in the woods, and he'll start by like cutting down trees, and then he's like building a fucking whole cabin, and then there's a fire, bro. But like I could watch that shit for a half hour. And just watch it all come together, and it's so satisfying seeing the finished product when there's like a door on the place, and you go in, and there's a bench, there's like a bed there, there's a stove, and it's like holy shit, bro! Like I just watched this guy build this fucking thing in a half hour. Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's
such a shame that like most people aren't faced with any type of like creative problem solving like that in a either survivalistic sense or just. You know, just doing things.
Well,
because
it's kind of a shame, but it's also kind of a good thing that most people don't find themselves in a life or death situation in the fucking middle of the woods.
That's actually very true. Yeah.
But it would be good if people intentionally put themselves into that situation in case, God forbid, they ever did end up in a real mess.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. If you're stuck out in the woods and your plane crashes, you know.
Dude, I think about that shit all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, like I constantly am in my head thinking about what would I do if this happened.
Yeah.
I'll be at a restaurant and I'll be thinking, if somebody walks in here with a shotgun right now and just starts shooting, like where could I go? Where am I going to run to? Yeah, it's something obsessive that happens in my brain.
Interesting.
All the time. Like, and I always think of like these worst case scenarios. Like, what could I do?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've always kind of had that.
Wow.
And
dude, you should be packing then. Dude, you need a gun.
Yeah, I don't know. Because my theory is that you attract trouble.
Yeah.
If you carry a gun, you're more likely to end up in a situation where you need it. In my opinion.
I can see truth in that.
I just
like things attract like things.
Like, and especially
guns attract more guns.
Yeah, and especially in New York.
Sure.
Because you're not supposed to have a gun, really, in New York.
Yeah.
You're not really supposed to have one. So the first thing I worry about.
In the city. Because you can't even have a BB gun. I don't even think you can have
you
BB
can't.
Gun. Yeah.
And like, you got to go through hell even on Long Island to have a gun that you can carry. So I think about that. I think about the trouble I'd get into.
Sure.
And I also think like, I'm going to have this fucking gun and I'm going to attract a situation for myself, like manifestation of like, now that I have this gun, I'm going to end up in a situation where I need it.
It's possible.
And listen, everybody who I knew who carried a gun,
happy to have it though.
I'd be happy if I need it.
Yeah.
But I'll put it this way. Everybody who I ever knew who carried a gun around in New York, they found themselves in a lot more dangerous situations than I generally find myself in.
Oh, really? Okay. I can see that.
I mean, maybe it's just the people I knew that had the gun because they were planning on being in those situations. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Interesting.
I don't mind having a gun in my home for home protection, but carrying one around, I just feel like I'd be asking for trouble. I'm a gun guy. I'm a gun rights, Second Amendment guy. I just feel like I might be worse off with a gun.
Walking around with it. Agreed.
I don't know if I even agree with myself right now, but but that's also something I think about. Like, I'm going to have this gun on me. And the thing is, if you have a gun, it's a major responsibility, first of all.
Yeah.
Remember I told you that I'm not very patient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I'd hate to be in a situation where my temper got away from me.
See,
and I got a gun on my hip.
That's a real thing. Because if you ever reach for the gun to show, like, hey,
now you got to use it.
We're fighting right now.
Yeah.
And I also have a gun. Like, if you ever get to that point with somebody,
yeah,
like, you unleash this thing in them that you were not prepared for.
And here's the problem too. If I have a gun and I have no intention on using it, but then I get into a scuffle with somebody, now they could try to take it off me. So now my life's automatically in danger because now I'm fighting with this guy and I got a gun on my hip.
And that does happen.
Happens all the fucking time. People get shot with their own gun, or they end up having to kill somebody because now my life is in danger because this guy could take my gun off me and fucking use it against me. So
I watched a video online, and it was like these people were coming out of a restaurant. Somebody bumped into somebody. Somebody exchanged some names and some attitudes, and then this woman just eventually after yelling at that, like, her and these other people, she ends up pulling the gun out on them, and it's like, back away, like, back up.
Yeah.
I'm defending my Ford.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
like,
dude, you see these videos.
What are you doing?
Are you on Twitter?
No.
If you scroll Twitter, man, you see people get shot over nothing.
Yeah, I did that
all the time.
I did that like a couple months ago. I popped on. And I remember hearing it's like, oh yeah, if you just hang out on X, it's
all these fucking videos. Bro.
I was like, I don't want to see any more cartel videos of like chopping off body parts and stuff. Like
I saw all that when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So like the video that disturbed me, I think it was during COVID, but like this couple was shoveling snow and they start arguing with their neighbor, and the neighbor just like. He blew his lid. He goes into his house. He comes out with an AR and he just fucking executes both of them. And the last thing he said to the woman, because he shot the guy a few times, then he shot her and she's laying in the street screaming. And he goes up to her point blank and he goes, "You should have just kept your fucking mouth shut." Boom. And just does an execution style right in the head.
Yeah.
And then goes back to his house and kills himself. And when I see shit like that, I'm like, see, this is why I don't like to argue with strangers.
Yeah.
Because
you don't know what they've been through. You don't know how that guy probably worked a shit job forever and like was just punching the clock his whole fucking life.
Right.
Feeling like, because I think she kept calling him a pussy or something.
So she did. And then the other thing that I read that I don't know if it's true or not was that other neighbors had said that there had been a dispute between these two neighbors for years.
Yeah.
Where the husband and wife that he ended up killing were constantly belittling that guy and threatening him, and apparently the dude that got killed was a lot bigger than him, so he was always threatening him with physical violence. And I think just over the course of several years of that, he just snapped and was like, you know what? I'm going to fucking show them now. But then you do it and you're like, now what do I do? Yeah. Like, you know what? And I saw this. I
know what'll make this better. I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah. But then he did it and he ended up killing himself. And I think what happened was he realized, like, fuck, now I'm going to prison for the rest of my life over this and I don't want to even deal with it.
Yeah. But
you know? Or he was ready to kill himself anyway.
It wasn't about, I don't even think it was about them at that point.
Yeah.
I think to get to that point, like, there has to be some, like, deeper thing that falls in, like that situation fell in line with how the guy felt about himself.
Yeah.
And it was just like a perfect storm of like, you know what? This is it.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking kill you and I'm going to kill myself. And it's over.
Anybody that kills anybody, to me, for any other reason than like, all right, like you hurt my family, you killed somebody that I love, you hurt somebody that I love. Mm-hmm. If you kill anybody for any reason other than that, you're fucking nuts in the first place. There's like something wrong with you in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you just go on a killing spree, or if you get into an argument with somebody over like road rage and you pull out a gun and shoot them over it.
Yep.
Like you're just fucking mentally fucking deranged just to begin with.
Yeah, to a degree, you're not fit for society.
You're not.
That's kind of what the consequences.
Right.
You know, if that consequence of like you killing somebody is and like you potentially losing your own life
Right.
isn't worth not killing somebody, you know,
And that's kind of why I think like maybe I am like maybe I should have a gun. My whole thing with not having a gun, it's the self-awareness of like my own temper where I'm like I wouldn't want to have a gun on me if I got really fucking angry. Although the fact that I have enough self-awareness to even say that about myself, I really don't think I would do anything.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like,
yeah,
I
don't think you would.
I don't think I would either, but I don't want to ever find out because I do get very angry and do things impulsively. But I don't think I could. I don't think it would go that far. And like I said, partially because I'm so self-aware, even in this moment where I'm not in the situation, where I'm like so hesitant to even have a gun. Mm-hmm. That's kind of why I think like I would have that presence of mind to realize the gravity of it. But then the other things that I brought up are all like valid reasons. Like, you know, you're putting yourself in a situation now where if somebody does just attack you, where if you didn't have a gun, you could just defend yourself and just, you know, move on. It's just hand-to-hand combat. Nobody's getting killed, most likely. Versus now somebody grabs me and I have a gun on my waist. Well, now I got to do something with it.
Yeah.
Because if I have a gun on my waist and you're trying to take me down to the ground, I'm assuming you're going for my gun.
Yeah.
You know, straight up. If it's me or you, I'm fucking using it.
Yeah.
So.
You're dying.
Yeah. That's it.
Or I'm shooting you in the leg.
Nah, bro. And that's the thing. You can't even do that because first of all.
Immobilize them.
If you just immobilize somebody, first of all, just on the adrenaline, they could still come at you and still be a danger to you. First of all.
Sure.
And
especially if they're on PCP.
Yeah. I mean, I seen a video where a cop shot somebody in the chest like 5 or 6 times and he's still charging at him.
Yeah, he was on PCP.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably. But this got dark, bro.
Yeah, dude.
How did you make me get into such a dark place?
I have the darkness.
What else is new?
You remember Chappelle's show?
Yeah, I mean, I did watch the Chappelle show.
When he would talk about Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
And was it? What's the guy's name? He's like, Charlie Murphy, I follow.
Rick James.
Yeah. And he would always talk about like Charlie Murphy. And he was like, follow me into the abyss. He'd just say like how dark that guy was. Yeah, it was funny. That was a good show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then he went nuts.
Who? Which one?
Chappelle? He went crazy. He went to Africa. A lot of people say that Chappelle now is not the same Chappelle that went to Africa.
Really?
There's a conspiracy theory about it. Like they show pictures of like what he looks like now and like what he looked like back then, and and they say it's like not the same guy. They say his voice sounds different.
He got jacked.
Yeah.
You don't develop that much muscle without your voice changing.
You think he's on like growth hormone and shit like
Probably, yeah. But I'm sure it's all like meticulously like,
Yeah.
If you have like doctors and stuff and you're doing all that like extra stuff, as long as it's not taken away from your life and whatnot.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So what else is happening, man? Anything else new?
Anything else new?
Yeah. How could we plug your business? You're not doing the Instagram thing, so we can.
No, well, I still am doing. So I have a new Instagram.
Okay.
It's Upcycle by Brett.
Upcycle by Brett.
Yep. You can find my website link, which is still realupcycle.com. Still making things, watch bands, still doing custom orders, painting things. Yeah. Let me know if you want anything.
Absolutely. So we'll put the link to the website and the Instagram.
Yeah.
And we could put something in the description about what you got going on in Westbury.
Yep. I'll put some information.
We'll put a flyer out there.
Yeah.
And
appreciated.
Anything else you want to plug before we wrap up?
Shoes. I'm doing shoes now. So I have a special cobbler's sewing machine. So if you want like the checks done differently or whatever, you want something custom, I could do shoes.
Nice.
Now too.
I saw those shoes you had. They were dope.
Yeah, thank you.
Those are Gucci, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Blue Gucci.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I seen some of those people that do like custom sneakers. It's sick what they can do.
Yep. Impressive.
Yeah.
I was thinking about I know a guy in Texas that does the custom shoes, I was thinking about taking a class with him to learn how to do a full shoe from beginning to end.
Nice.
So that's still like in the back of my head because I still want to do like the customizing stuff as a hobby.
Yeah.
And I'll probably never stop doing that.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So check out, you heard it here first. Check out realupcycle.com
realupcycle.com
and Upcycle by Brett on Instagram. And, make sure you check back next week. We're going to have a new episode every Sunday. So thank you guys for watching and keep coming back.